You taught them how to hurt you. You showed them where to aim. And every single day, without realizing it, you gave them permission to treat you like you do not matter. This was never about their cruelty. This was about your training. You trained the people around you to see you as someone who could be interrupted, dismissed, ignored, and overlooked. And the worst part is, you did it with kindness. You did it with patience. You did it believing that tolerance would earn you love. But Machiavelli understood something most people die never learning. Respect is not given to the good. Respect is given to the unreadable. And right now, you are an open book written in a language everyone knows how to exploit. Now before we dive deeper into this journey, I need your help. My ex-girlfriend said I am a failure and can never be successful speaking the truth on YouTube about how the world operates. She said nobody will subscribe to a failure's channel. Please subscribe now. Let us prove her wrong. It will be a shame if what she said happens. Please help this young man gain his confidence back. And please tell me where you are watching from right now. Drop your location in the comments because I would love to know where my amazing viewers are tuning in from and to prove to her that people around the world now watch my channel. What you are about to hear is not comfortable. It will not soothe you. It will not tell you that everyone else is the problem and you are merely the victim. No. This video is a mirror, and the reflection will show you the exact behaviors, words, and patterns that invited disrespect into your life. But more importantly, it will show you how to reverse it, how to reprogram the people around you, how to make them treat you differently without ever saying a single word about wanting respect. Because here is the secret Machiavelli understood. Those who demand respect never get it. Those who silently command it never lose it. The difference between the two is not confidence. It is architecture. You are about to learn how to rebuild yourself from the foundation. There is a reason some people walk into a room and everything shifts. Conversations pause. Eyes glance. Postures change. And there is a reason others walk into the same room and nobody notices. Nobody acknowledges. Nobody adjusts. The first type did not earn this treatment by being loud. They did not demand it by being aggressive. They earned it by never giving anyone permission to treat them otherwise. The second type, the invisible ones, the dismissed ones, the interrupted ones, they handed out that permission freely. Every laugh at a joke that was not funny. Every yes that should have been no. Every time they stayed silent when they should have walked away. Each of those moments was a lesson. A curriculum they taught to the world. And the world learned. Do you want to know which one you are? Do you want to know if you have been teaching people to take you seriously or teaching them to take advantage? Look at your last 5 interactions. Look at how they ended. Did you leave feeling heard or drained? Did you leave feeling valued or used? That answer tells you everything. And if the answer disturbs you, then you are in the right place. Because Machiavelli left behind a fix. A set of principles so powerful that kings feared to write them down and commoners were forbidden from reading them. These principles are no longer locked away. They are here. And by the end of this video, you will not just understand them. You will become them. Let me take you somewhere. Close your eyes in your mind and picture a court. Not a modern courtroom. An ancient one. Marble floors. Candles flickering against stone walls. A long table surrounded by men who would slit each other's throats for a better seat. At the head of that table sits a ruler. Quiet. Still. His eyes do not dart. His hands do not move. While everyone else performs confidence, he exudes certainty. The others compete for his attention. He offers nothing. And because he offers nothing, they assume he knows everything. This man did not rise to power through brute force. He rose through a single understanding. The moment you show people what you want, you give them power over you. The moment you reveal what hurts you, you hand them a blade. And the moment you consistently tolerate disrespect, you legalize it. This ruler was not born with this knowledge. He was forged by betrayal. And from that betrayal, he learned the rules that you are about to learn now. Before we continue, I need to ask you something. Think about the last time someone disrespected you. Not a stranger. Someone close. Someone who should have known better. How did you respond? Did you confront them and feel dismissed? Did you stay silent and feel weak? Or did you pretend it did not matter while your insides twisted with resentment? Type the word mirror in the comments right now if you have ever let disrespect slide and then hated yourself for it later. Type mirror because this moment of honesty will anchor everything you are about to learn. Lesson 1. The first rule of being disrespected is understanding that it always starts with permission. No one wakes up and decides to disrespect you randomly. They test you first. They throw a small jab, a slight interruption, a minor dismissal, and then they watch. They watch your eyes, your posture, your response. If you laugh it off, they note it. If you explain yourself, they register your weakness. If you pretend you did not notice, they grow bolder. Disrespect is never a single event. It is a campaign. And every campaign begins with reconnaissance. The people around you are constantly gathering data. They are measuring how much they can take before you resist. And if you never resist, they never stop taking. Machiavelli wrote about the nature of men in his private letters, not just his public works. He observed that people do not hate those who oppose them. They hate those who oppose them weakly. A strong enemy earns respect. A weak friend earns contempt. Think about that. Your kindness is not the problem. Your inconsistency is. When you sometimes hold a boundary and sometimes collapse, you become unpredictable in the worst way. You become someone who can be worn down. And once people learn you can be worn down, they stop respecting your limits entirely. They just wait. They know that if they push long enough, you will fold. You have shown them this. You have proven it. And now they expect it. But here is the truth nobody tells you. The moment you become predictable in your standards, people become predictable in their respect. When they know that crossing a line with you means losing access to you, they stop crossing the line. Not because they love you more. Not because they suddenly become better people. But because the cost is no longer worth it. Machiavelli understood that human beings are calculating creatures. They do what benefits them. They avoid what harms them. Your job is not to change their nature. Your job is to rearrange the equation. Make respecting you the profitable option. Make disrespecting you expensive. And watch how quickly the treatment changes. I want you to think about a door. Not a metaphorical door. An actual door. Picture it in your mind. Now imagine that every time someone opened that door, there was no resistance. It swung open freely. It never locked. It never creaked in warning. It never required a key. Eventually, people would stop knocking. Why would they? There is no barrier. There is no ritual of permission. They would walk in whenever they wanted, take whatever they needed, and leave without acknowledgement. Now imagine that same door suddenly becomes heavy. It locks. It requires permission. The first few people who try to barge in are met with resistance. They feel the shift. They step back. They recalibrate. And from that moment on, they approach differently. They knock. They wait. They ask. Nothing about the room behind the door changed. Only the door itself. You are the door. And up until now you have been wide open. Lesson 2. The second principle Machiavelli taught is one that most people misunderstand. It is not about silence. It is about strategic absence. You see, the mistake most disrespected people make is thinking they need to say more, explain more, justify more. They believe that if they just articulate their feelings correctly, the other person will finally understand. But this is backwards. Over-explaining is not communication. It is begging with more words. And every time you beg, you reinforce the dynamic. You confirm that their opinion of you matters more than your opinion of yourself. You place them above you in the hierarchy. And once someone is placed above you, they do not step down willingly. Strategic absence means removing yourself from situations where your presence is not valued. It means walking away without announcement. It means declining invitations without lengthy excuses. It means letting silence do the work your words never could. When you are always available, you are never valuable. When you disappear without explanation, people are forced to wonder. And wondering is the beginning of respect. They start to ask themselves questions. Where did they go? Why did they leave? Did I do something? That internal questioning does more than any confrontation ever could. Because now they are convincing themselves. They are doing your work for you. And self-generated conclusions are always more powerful than imposed ones. There was a nobleman in Renaissance Italy who mastered this principle. He was not the strongest. He was not the wealthiest. But he was the most absent. He would attend gatherings only briefly. He would speak only when necessary. He would leave before anyone expected. And because of this, his presence became an event. When he spoke, people leaned in. When he arrived, people noticed. When he left, people discussed him. He had engineered his own mythology through nothing more than scarcity. He understood what you must now understand. Your presence is a currency. And currencies that flood the market lose value. But currencies that are rare, those become gold. Let me ask you something directly. How often do you over-explain yourself? How often do you send the second message when the first was not answered? How often do you fill the silence because it makes you uncomfortable? If you recognize yourself in any of this, type the words "I will embrace silence" in the comments right now. Make that commitment public. Let it mark the beginning of your transformation. Lesson 3. Here is where we reach uncomfortable territory. The third principle is about confronting your addiction to being liked. Yes, addiction. That is not an exaggeration. From childhood, you were conditioned to seek approval. Good grades brought praise. Compliance brought acceptance. Agreeableness brought inclusion. And slowly, over years, your nervous system was trained to treat rejection as danger. Not discomfort. Danger. As in, your body responds to social disapproval the same way it responds to physical threat. Heart rate rises. Palms sweat. Stomach tightens. This is not weakness. This is programming. But it is programming you must override if you ever want to be treated differently. Machiavelli observed that those who seek love above all else are destined to be despised. Because love is volatile. Love is conditional. Love can be withdrawn at any moment for reasons outside your control. But respect, true respect, is structural. It is based on patterns, not emotions. A person may dislike you and still respect you. In fact, many of the most respected figures in history were not liked at all. They were feared. They were admired. They were followed. But loved. Rarely. And this did not diminish their power. It enhanced it. Because they were not dependent on the fickle winds of human affection. They were rooted in something more stable. Their own standards. I want you to ask yourself this question honestly. How many times have you betrayed yourself to keep someone else comfortable? How many times have you said yes when every fiber of your being screamed no? How many times have you laughed at disrespect because confrontation felt too costly? Each of those moments was a transaction. You traded your dignity for their approval. And the exchange rate was brutal. Because you never got what you paid for. The approval was temporary. The acceptance was shallow. And the self-abandonment was permanent. It stayed with you. It accumulated. And eventually, it became your identity. This is not about becoming cold. This is not about becoming cruel. This is about becoming honest. Honest about what you will accept. Honest about what you will not tolerate. Honest about the fact that some people will not like this new version of you. And being at peace with that. Because the people who only valued you when you were compliant never valued you at all. They valued your usefulness. They valued your flexibility. They valued how easily you could be bent. And when you stop bending, they will resist. They will accuse you of changing. They will say you are not who you used to be. And they will be right. You will not be who you used to be. You will be who you were supposed to become. Now before we continue, I want to remind you of something. If you are still here, if this message is resonating with your soul, you are already different from most. Most people click away. Most people avoid the mirror. But you stayed. That means something. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. My ex said this channel would never grow. She said nobody wants to hear the truth. But you are here. You are listening. You are proving her wrong with every second you stay. Hit subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs it. And let us build something she said was impossible. Lesson 4. The fourth principle involves the architecture of confrontation. Most people either avoid confrontation entirely or explode in ways that damage them more than their opponent. Neither of these serves you. Avoidance teaches people that they can cross you without consequence. Explosion teaches people that you can be destabilized with minimal effort. Both outcomes leave you weaker. What Machiavelli prescribed was something different. Measured response. Calculated resistance. Confrontation so precise that it lands once and never needs to be repeated. The key to effective confrontation is detachment. When you confront someone from a place of emotional charge, you give them power. They see your anger and they feel significant. They see your tears and they feel superior. They see your desperation and they feel in control. But when you confront them from stillness, when your voice is calm, your words are few, and your eyes are steady, something shifts. They cannot read you. They cannot predict you. And what they cannot predict, they cannot control. Here is an example. Someone insults you publicly. The instinct is to respond immediately, to defend yourself, to correct the record. But this instinct is a trap. By responding quickly, you show that their words penetrated. You show that their opinion of you matters enough to warrant immediate defense. Instead, try something different. Pause. Look at them. Say nothing. Let the silence stretch. Let them wonder what you are thinking. Let the room grow uncomfortable. And then, when you do respond, say something short. Something final. Something that requires no follow-up. Something like, "I expected better from you." And then leave. Physically leave. Do not wait for their reply. Do not engage further. Walk away as though the conversation is beneath continuation. This does several things. First, it shows that you are not affected in the way they hoped. Second, it places them in the position of being evaluated rather than being the evaluator. Third, it leaves the interaction on your terms. You decided when it ended. You controlled the final note. And in any social exchange, the person who controls the exit controls the narrative. But let me warn you, this only works if you genuinely release the outcome. If you walk away still hoping they will apologize, still checking if they are watching, still analyzing their reaction, you have not mastered the principle. You have merely performed it. And performance without substance eventually collapses. You must actually detach. Actually release. Actually become someone who does not require their validation to feel whole. This is the inner work that makes the outer strategy effective. Lesson 5. The fifth principle is about the energy you emit before a single word is spoken. Machiavelli knew that humans are perceptive creatures. They sense weakness before it is articulated. They feel uncertainty before it is expressed. They detect insecurity before it is admitted. And they respond to all of this unconsciously. Long before you said something that invited disrespect, your energy broadcast an invitation. Your posture, your eye contact, your speed of movement, your willingness to take up space. All of this communicated a message. And if that message said, "I am not sure I belong here," the world agreed. There is a term in psychology called thin slicing. It refers to the human ability to make accurate judgments about others within seconds of meeting them. In as little as 2 seconds, a stranger can assess your confidence, your social status, your competence. And the terrifying part is that these snap judgments are often correct. Not because humans are psychic, but because your body reveals what your words try to hide. Every time you enter a room hunched, every time you break eye contact first, every time you speak quickly to avoid taking too much space, you confirm a narrative of low status. And people treat you accordingly. But the reverse is also true. When you enter slowly, when you breathe deeply, when you let your gaze settle before speaking, when you occupy space without apology, you broadcast a different message. This person is not desperate for approval. This person knows something. This person cannot be easily dismissed. And even though nothing was said, the room recalibrates. The same people who would have interrupted you now wait. The same people who would have dismissed your ideas now listen. Nothing changed except your energy. And yet everything changed. I want you to try something after this video. Stand in front of a mirror. Not to check your appearance, but to check your presence. Stand the way you stand in public. Observe your posture. Observe your face. Observe the tension in your shoulders. And ask yourself, if I were a stranger, would I respect this person? If the answer is no, do not feel shame. Feel awareness. Because awareness is the first step to transformation. Now adjust your posture. Lift your chin slightly. Relax your face. Pull your shoulders back without forcing them. Take a deep breath. And look at yourself again. That person commands more respect. And that person is available to you at any moment. You just have to choose to embody them. Lesson 6. The sixth principle is perhaps the most counterintuitive. It is about the strategic use of disappointment. Most people try to prevent others from being disappointed in them. They people please. They over-deliver. They exhaust themselves trying to exceed expectations. But Machiavelli understood something different. A person who never disappoints is a person who is being controlled. Because when you are terrified of disappointing others, you hand them the reins. They learn that they can ask for anything and you will comply. They learn that your fear of their displeasure is stronger than your self-respect. And once they learn this, they exploit it. Strategic disappointment means deliberately allowing others to feel let down when their expectations are unreasonable. It means saying no without excessive justification. It means canceling plans without groveling for forgiveness. It means being unavailable without guilt. This does not mean being flaky or inconsistent. It means being selective. It means teaching people that your yes is valuable precisely because your no is possible. When you never say no, your yes means nothing. It is expected. It is assumed. It is taken for granted. But when you say no regularly, your yes becomes a gift. Something earned. Something appreciated. Something that cannot be demanded. Think about the people in your life who command the most respect. They are rarely the most accommodating. They are often the most boundaried. They do not answer every call. They do not attend every event. They do not respond to every message immediately. And yet, you do not think less of them. You think more of them, because their time feels scarce. Their presence feels intentional. Their engagement feels chosen. Meanwhile, the people who are always available, always accommodating, always eager to please, often receive the least respect. Not because they are bad people, but because they have taught the world that their presence is free. And humans do not value free things. Here is a challenge for you. In the next week, decline one request you would normally accept. Not because you cannot do it, but because you want to. Do not over-explain. Simply say you are unable to this time. And then observe. Observe the person's response. Observe your own feelings. Observe how the dynamic shifts. If this exercise terrifies you, that is precisely why you must do it. Type the words "my no matters" in the comments right now. Make that declaration. Let it be a stake in the ground for your new chapter. Lesson 7. The seventh principle addresses something we rarely discuss openly. It is the role of mystery in commanding respect. Machiavelli advised princes to be like the fox, cunning and difficult to catch. But this was not about deception. It was about depth. The people who are most disrespected are often the most transparent. They share everything. Their struggles, their hopes, their fears, their plans. They believe that vulnerability creates connection. And sometimes it does. But unearned vulnerability creates exposure. And exposure invites exploitation. When you tell someone your insecurities before they have proven trustworthy, you arm them. When you share your dreams before they have shown investment, you invite sabotage. When you reveal your wounds before they have demonstrated care, you set yourself up for salt. Not everyone earns your depth. Not everyone deserves your truth. And until they do, mystery is your protection. Keep parts of yourself hidden. Not out of paranoia, but out of strategy. Let people wonder what you think. Let them guess what you feel. Let them work to understand you. Because anything worth having requires effort. And if your inner world requires no effort to access, it will not be valued when accessed. This principle extends beyond emotional disclosure. It includes your plans, your goals, your ambitions. Do not announce what you are building before it is built. Do not declare your moves before you make them. Silence about your intentions keeps others from interfering, competing, or sabotaging. It also adds weight to your eventual success. When things appear suddenly and fully formed, they seem inevitable, magical even. But when people have watched you struggle step by step, sharing every setback, every doubt, the final achievement is diminished. It is expected. It has been robbed of its mystery. There is a phrase often attributed to ancient strategists. Move in silence and let your success make the noise. This is not about arrogance. This is about preservation. Protect your energy. Protect your vision. Protect the fragile beginnings of your transformation. And when you emerge different, stronger, commanding respect in ways you never have before, let the world wonder how. Let them ask questions you never answer. Let the mystery become part of your mythology. Lesson 8. The 8th principle concerns the relationship between respect and reputation. Machiavelli was obsessed with reputation because he understood that perception creates reality. How people treat you is often based not on who you are, but on who they believe you are. And if your reputation is that of someone who tolerates disrespect, every new person you meet will inherit that belief. They will hear about you before they know you. They will approach you with the same assumptions others have created. And you will spend endless energy trying to convince them otherwise. This is why reputation management is not vanity. It is survival. You must curate what people say about you by controlling what they experience with you. Every interaction is data that others will reference. When someone tells a story about how they treated you poorly and you did nothing, that story travels. It becomes evidence. It shapes expectations. But when someone tells a story about how they tried to cross you and found an immovable boundary, that story also travels. It becomes a warning. It shapes expectations differently. You are authoring your own reputation with every choice you make. But here is the complexity. You cannot control what people say. You can only control what you give them to work with. A single moment of weakness erases multiple moments of strength in the eyes of observers. Because drama is memorable. Capitulation is memorable. Someone standing up for themselves once and then folding twice is seen as someone who folds. So consistency is essential, not perfection. You are human. You will sometimes fail to uphold your standards. But the average of your behavior must communicate unmistakably what you will and will not accept. There is a concept called the shadow reputation. It is what people say about you when you leave the room. It is the summary of your behavior that circulates in circles you do not even know exist. If you want to know your shadow reputation, observe how new people treat you. If they assume they can push you around, someone has taught them that assumption. If they approach with caution and respect, someone has taught them that too. Your job is to reverse engineer the origin of these expectations and change the source. Usually, the source is you. Lesson 9. The 9th principle deals with a painful truth. Some people disrespect you because you remind them of themselves. Not their current self, but the self they are ashamed of. The self they have buried. The self that was also once pushed around, ignored, dismissed. By mistreating you, they perform a kind of exorcism. They project onto you everything they hate about their own history of weakness. And each time they diminish you, they feel temporarily superior to their own wounds. This does not excuse their behavior, but understanding it changes your response. When you realize that their disrespect is not really about you, that it is about their own unhealed fractures, you stop taking it personally. And when you stop taking it personally, you respond differently. You no longer get hooked by their barbs because you understand the barbs are boomerangs. They throw them at you, but the target was always themselves. This knowledge is protective. It insulates you from the emotional hijacking that usually accompanies disrespect. But do not mistake this understanding for permission to tolerate. You can understand someone's wound and still refuse to be their punching bag. Compassion and boundaries are not opposites. You can hold both. You can recognize that a person's cruelty comes from pain while simultaneously deciding that their pain does not grant them access to yours. This is mature power. This is what Machiavelli pointed toward but never fully articulated. Strength is not the absence of empathy. It is the presence of empathy alongside the discipline to protect yourself anyway. Think about someone who has disrespected you repeatedly. Someone whose behavior has always confused or wounded you. Now ask yourself, what in them is wounded? What in them needs to feel powerful? What in them is desperate for significance? Once you see the answer, you will see them differently. They will shrink from monster to human. From tormentor to wounded child in an adult body. And when you see them this way, their power over you dissolves. You will no longer shrink in their presence. You will stand in yours. I want to pause here and acknowledge you. You have stayed through difficult material. You have let these words reach places you usually protect. That takes something. And I do not say this lightly. Most people run from this kind of content. They prefer comfortable lies. But not you. You are choosing discomfort because you know comfort has not served you. That willingness is rare. It is precious. And it tells me that what I am building here is real. My ex thought this would fail. Every subscriber proves her wrong. If this content has meant something to you, subscribe now. Not just for me. For yourself. Because you are investing in your transformation, and this channel is part of your architecture. Lesson 10. The 10th principle is about the danger of negotiating with disrespect. When someone treats you poorly and you try to discuss it with them, you enter a negotiation. And in most cases, you are negotiating from a position of weakness. You are saying, please stop doing this to me. You are asking for something you should be enforcing. And the person across from you recognizes this. They see that your boundary requires their cooperation. And cooperation can be withheld. Machiavelli advised against ever placing yourself in a position where your well-being depends on another's goodwill. Because goodwill is unreliable. It disappears when it is inconvenient. It vanishes when they are stressed, when they are tired, when they no longer need something from you. If your respect depends on their choice to give it, you will be disrespected whenever they choose to withhold. This is not a stable foundation. This is a house built on sand. Instead of negotiating, enforce. Enforcement looks like removing your presence. It looks like reduced access to you. It looks like withdrawal of favors, attention, energy. It does not require permission. It does not require their agreement. It is a unilateral decision that you make because you have decided certain treatment is unacceptable. And unilateral decisions cannot be negotiated away. They can only be responded to. When someone realizes that disrespecting you automatically results in losing something they value, they adjust. Not because they became a better person, but because the incentive structure changed. Let me be specific. Someone disrespects you. You try to talk about it. They minimize, deflect, or gaslight. Now you have two options. Option 1 is to try again, maybe with more words, more explanation, more evidence. This rarely works and often makes you feel worse. Option 2 is to quietly withdraw. Reduce engagement. Stop initiating. Decline invitations. Become busy. And offer no explanation. No dramatic announcement. No ultimatum. Just distance. Watch what happens. Often they come back. They ask what is wrong. They notice the shift. And when they do, you have leverage you never had before. Because now they are chasing. Now they are uncertain. Now they are on the back foot. Lesson 11. The 11th principle addresses the trap of proving yourself. When you are disrespected, the instinct is to prove you deserve better. To demonstrate your worth. To list your accomplishments. To remind them of what you have done. But this instinct is the very thing that keeps you disrespected. Because when you prove, you admit doubt. You suggest that your worth is up for debate, that it requires evidence, that it must be argued before a jury of their perception. And once you accept that frame, you have already lost. Machiavelli noted that those who seek to prove their greatness often do so because they are unsure of it themselves. Truly powerful figures do not explain themselves. They do not justify their value. They let their presence and their actions speak. And when someone questions their worth, they do not scramble to answer. They simply remove themselves from the company of someone who lacks the vision to see. This is not arrogance. This is clarity. It is the deep knowing that your worth does not fluctuate based on external opinion. It is fixed, inherent, non-negotiable. The moment you start listing reasons why someone should respect you is the moment you have already given them power. You have made your internal state contingent on their evaluation. And they will use this against you. They will raise the bar. They will move the goalposts. They will create new criteria that you must meet before you are deemed worthy. It is an endless game designed to keep you performing, chasing, and never arriving. Opt out of the game entirely. Refuse to prove. Refuse to justify. Let them think what they want. And reserve your energy for people who never required proof in the first place. There is a silent phrase I want you to internalize. Use it when the urge to prove arises. The phrase is this: I do not audition. Repeat it in your mind when someone demands justification. I do not audition. When someone needs convincing. I do not audition. When someone questions whether you are enough. I do not audition. Let this mantra reframe your self-concept. You are not a candidate for their approval. You are a complete entity that they can either recognize or miss entirely. Their failure to see you is their loss to bear, not yours to fix. Lesson 12. The 12th principle is about pattern interruption. People have been conditioned to expect certain responses from you. When they criticize, you defend. When they push, you yield. When they dismiss, you seek validation. These patterns are so ingrained that both you and they run them unconsciously. Every interaction follows the same script because you have always read the same lines. To change the dynamic, you must break the pattern. Pattern interruption is the strategic disruption of expected behavior. It shocks the other person out of autopilot. It forces them to pay attention. It creates a new moment where old rules no longer apply. And in that moment, you can establish new terms. Machiavelli was a master of pattern interruption. He advised rulers to alternate between mercy and severity, generosity and restraint, visibility and disappearance. Because unpredictability keeps others attentive. It keeps them from becoming complacent. It keeps them from assuming they know your next move. Here is how this applies to you. Think about a recurring situation where you are disrespected. Maybe a family member who always comments on your life choices. Maybe a colleague who interrupts you in meetings. Maybe a friend who only calls when they need something. What is your usual response? Define it. Now design something different. If you usually explain yourself to the family member, try saying nothing and changing the subject without addressing their comment. If you usually yield when interrupted, try pausing, maintaining eye contact, and then saying "where was I" and continuing as though the interruption did not exist. If you usually answer the needy friend, try not answering for 2 days and then responding briefly with no apology. Each of these breaks the pattern. And each pattern break is a reset. It tells the other person that the old rules are expired. It creates confusion. And confusion is the precursor to recalibration. They do not know what you will do next. They cannot anticipate. And that uncertainty shifts the power. No longer are you the predictable one who can be easily managed. You are now someone who requires their attention, their consideration, their caution. That is where respect begins. Lesson 13. The 13th principle confronts a myth that has damaged countless people. The myth is that if you are good enough, people will eventually treat you right. This myth has kept you tolerating. It has kept you waiting. It has kept you believing that someday, your patience will be rewarded. But Machiavelli observed the opposite pattern throughout history. Those who waited for goodness to be recognized were often destroyed by those who did not wait. The world does not distribute respect based on moral merit. It distributes respect based on demonstrated power. Power in this context does not mean aggression. It means the ability to affect outcomes, the ability to walk away, the ability to withhold something they want, the ability to not need them. These forms of power shift how you are treated, and they are available to you now. But they require a fundamental shift in belief. You must stop waiting to be recognized and start behaving like recognition is irrelevant. You must stop hoping others will change and start changing what you will accept. You must stop being the patient saint and start being the strategic sovereign of your own life. There is a quote often attributed to various philosophers. Be so good they cannot ignore you. It sounds inspiring, but it is incomplete. Many good people are ignored. Many talented people are overlooked. Many patient people are exploited. Being good is not enough. You must also be unavoidable, undeniable, unignorable. And that requires not just quality but positioning. It requires that you place yourself where your value is visible. It requires that you stop hiding your standards. It requires that you treat your own boundaries as sacred rather than optional. Consider the parable of the gem and the pebble. A gem does not shine brighter when placed among garbage. It gets dirty. It gets lost. It gets mistaken for trash. But when a gem is placed among other gems, its value is obvious. The setting matters. The environment matters. And sometimes, changing how you are treated requires changing who you are around. Not everyone deserves your presence. Some environments will never recognize your value no matter how brightly you shine. Your job is to recognize when you are among garbage and relocate. Not with resentment. With clarity. Lesson 14. The 14th principle involves the strategic use of standards. Most people hide their standards because they fear being seen as demanding. They adapt. They lower expectations. They call this flexibility. But Machiavelli would call this self-erasure. When you hide your standards, you attract people who would not meet them anyway. You filter for the wrong audience. And then you wonder why everyone around you disappoints. Visible standards are filters. When you communicate what you expect early and clearly, several things happen. People who cannot meet those expectations self-select out. They drift away. They do not bother trying. This is a gift. It saves you time. It protects your energy. Meanwhile, people who can meet those standards rise to the occasion. They respect the clarity. They appreciate that you know what you want. And they engage with you differently because they know the rules. But visibility does not mean announcement. You do not need to give speeches about your standards. You demonstrate them. When someone is late, you do not lecture them. You simply start without them. When someone flakes, you do not guilt them. You stop inviting them. When someone oversteps, you do not argue. You create distance. These actions speak. They speak louder than any verbal declaration. And over time, people learn what they learn through all real education, through experience. They experience your standards, and they adjust. Here is a practical application. In your next significant interaction, whether romantic, professional, or social, hold a standard you would normally compromise. If you usually accept late replies without comment, mention that you appreciate timely communication. If you usually adjust your schedule for others, prioritize your own plans first. If you usually accept half effort, require full engagement or disengage entirely. And watch what happens. The right people will respect this. The wrong people will be offended. Both responses give you valuable information. And both responses save you time you would have wasted on misalignment. Let me pause again to invite your engagement. What is one standard you have been hiding because you feared being too much? What is one expectation you lowered to keep someone around? Type that standard in the comments now. Be bold. Let this community witness your commitment to your own worthiness. Lesson 15. The 15th principle addresses the relationship between pain and transformation. You cannot become someone who commands respect without letting go of who you were when you accepted disrespect. That old self must die. And death is painful. This is not metaphor. It is psychological reality. When you change deeply, there is grief. Grief for the time lost. Grief for the relationships that cannot survive your growth. Grief for the version of you that tried so hard but did not know better. Machiavelli wrote about the necessity of controlled destruction. Sometimes old structures must be torn down before new ones can be built. Sometimes alliances must be severed before new ones can be formed. And sometimes, the self you have been must be abandoned before the self you are becoming can emerge. This is uncomfortable. This is lonely. This is the passageway that most people avoid. They prefer familiar pain to unfamiliar transformation. They stay in disrespected dynamics because at least those dynamics are known. But you are not most people. You have stayed through this entire video. You have absorbed ideas that most would reject. You are preparing for a shedding. And I want to honor that. The discomfort you feel right now, the resistance, the fear, the doubt, these are signs that growth is near. You are on the threshold. You are in the hallway between who you were and who you will be. The hallway is dark. It is narrow. It is disorienting. But it leads somewhere. And where it leads is worth every step. Take a moment now. Breathe. Recognize where you are in your journey. Recognize that the discomfort means you are changing. And decide, consciously, whether you will walk through the hallway or turn back to the familiar room that hurt you. One choice leads to transformation. The other leads to repetition. And only you can make it. Lesson 16. The 16th principle concerns the relationship between language and respect. The words you use about yourself shape how others perceive you. When you constantly apologize, you signal that your presence is an imposition. When you ask permission for things that require no permission, you signal that you do not trust your own judgment. When you qualify every statement with "I might be wrong" or "this is probably stupid," but you invite others to agree. Machiavelli understood that language is not just communication. It is positioning. Every sentence you speak places you somewhere in the social hierarchy. And if your language consistently places you beneath others, they will accept that positioning without question. They will treat you as beneath them because you told them to. Start listening to yourself. Listen to how you begin sentences. Listen to how often you apologize when no apology is warranted. Listen to how you describe your ideas, your work, your worth. And then begin to edit. Remove the qualifiers. Replace the apologies with gratitude where appropriate or silence where not. Speak in statements rather than questions when you are sharing your perspective. This is not about being rude. It is about being clear. And clarity commands respect in a way that hedging never can. There is an exercise I recommend. For one full day, track every time you unnecessarily diminish yourself in speech. Carry a notebook or use your phone. Note every apology, every qualifier, every moment of verbal self-reduction. At the end of the day, review the list. You will likely be shocked by the volume. That shock is useful. It reveals the depth of the pattern. And from that awareness, you can begin the conscious work of speaking like someone who deserves respect. Because you do. Lesson 17. The 17th principle explores the relationship between energy investment and respect. Where you place your attention reveals what you value. And when you give excessive attention to those who disrespect you, you reveal that their opinion matters more than your own peace. You show them that they live rent-free in your mind. That they occupy your thoughts, your conversations, your emotional bandwidth. And they use this knowledge against you. Because knowing you are obsessed with them is its own form of power. Machiavelli advised maintaining detachment from those who work against you. Not cold indifference for show, but genuine internal release. When you stop giving mental space to people who mistreat you, they feel the shift even if you never say a word. Energy transmits. They sense that they no longer hook you, that their jabs no longer land, that you have moved on in a way that cannot be faked. And this confuses them, because they expected ongoing access to your emotional reactions. When that access is denied, they often escalate briefly before eventually retreating. Think about who occupies your thoughts right now. Whose behavior do you replay? Whose words do you analyze? Whose approval do you still seek despite knowing they do not deserve your effort? These are your energy leaks. These are the people siphoning your power without giving anything in return. And every moment you spend thinking about them is a moment stolen from your own becoming. I want to offer you a visualization. Picture your attention as water. Picture your mind as a container. Each person you focus on gets some of that water. Now picture the people who disrespect you. How much water are they getting? Likely more than they deserve. Now imagine redirecting that water, pouring it back into yourself, into your goals, into your peace, into people who actually reciprocate. Feel the container refilling for the right purposes. This is what energetic reallocation feels like. And it is a choice you can make starting now. Lesson 18. The 18th principle is about the power of timing. Machiavelli wrote extensively about timing in political contexts. When to strike, when to wait, when to advance, when to retreat. But these principles apply equally to personal dynamics. There are times to address disrespect immediately and times to delay. There are times when silence is powerful and times when silence is weakness. Discernment is the skill that separates the wise from the impulsive. Immediate response is appropriate when the disrespect is public and silence would be interpreted as acceptance. In those moments, some form of response is necessary to avoid reputational damage. But the response need not be emotional. A raised eyebrow, a calm restatement of the facts, a single question that reveals the absurdity of the attack. These are immediate but measured. They stop the bleed without creating a larger wound. Delayed response is appropriate when you need time to think, when the other party expects immediate reaction and denying it disrupts their plan, or when a strategic withdrawal will communicate more than words ever could. Sometimes the most powerful response to disrespect is to leave the room. Not to storm out, but to quietly exit with dignity intact. To not be present for the aftermath. To let them sit with what they did without the relief of your reaction. Timing also applies to your larger transformation. Do not rush this process. Do not expect overnight change. The shift from someone who is disrespected to someone who commands respect happens in layers. Some days you will succeed. Some days you will revert. What matters is the trend, not the individual data point. Be patient with yourself while remaining rigorous with your standards. And trust that time, combined with consistent action, produces results that desperation never could. Lesson 19. The 19th principle is about the use of contrast. Machiavelli understood that people perceive value through comparison. They do not evaluate you in isolation. They evaluate you against what came before and what exists around. This means that strategic use of contrast can accelerate respect. If you have always been available, sudden unavailability is noticed. If you have always been talkative, sudden silence is noticed. If you have always been accommodating, sudden firmness is noticed. These contrasts register because they break expectation. They force recalibration. And recalibration is where power can be renegotiated. But contrast must be authentic, not theatrical. If you pretend to be unavailable but are actually anxiously waiting for them to notice, the energy will leak. They will sense the performance. And performance undermines the effect. True contrast comes from genuine internal change. You become unavailable because your life is now full. You become silent because you have nothing to prove. You become firm because your standards are now non-negotiable. The external shift reflects the internal one. And because it is real, it resonates. Consider where contrast might serve you. Is there a relationship where you have been overly consistent in a way that has trained them to take you for granted? What would change if you shifted your behavior? Not dramatically, not manipulatively, but authentically. What if you simply started prioritizing yourself in ways you never have before? The contrast would speak. And often, it would speak louder than any conversation you could attempt. Lesson 20. The 20th principle is about the ultimate source of respect. Self-respect. Everything we have discussed, the strategies, the principles, the historical examples, they all rest on a single foundation. You must respect yourself first. If you do not, no technique will save you. No strategy will hold. No boundary will remain intact. Because every external defense rests on internal conviction. And if that conviction is absent, the defenses crumble at the first sign of pressure. Machiavelli knew that rulers who doubted their own right to rule were eventually overthrown. Their uncertainty was visible. It emboldened rivals. It weakened alliances. It created the very instability they feared. The same dynamic plays out in personal relationships. When you doubt your own worth, that doubt radiates. It attracts predators. It repels allies. It creates cycles of disrespect that confirm the very belief that created them. Self-respect is not arrogance. It is not believing you are better than others. It is simply believing you are worthy of decent treatment. That your time has value. That your emotions matter. That your boundaries deserve honor. These are not extraordinary claims. They are the baseline of human dignity. And yet for many, especially those who have been conditioned by early environments to accept mistreatment, these claims feel foreign. They feel presumptuous. They feel dangerous. I want to speak directly to you now. If you have struggled to believe in your own worth, I see you. I understand. That struggle is not evidence of weakness. It is evidence of survival. You adapted to an environment that did not recognize your value, and you learned to diminish yourself in order to fit. But that environment is not your destiny. Those early teachers were wrong, and their lessons can be unlearned. Start small. Start by disagreeing with one negative thought about yourself today. Just one. And tomorrow, disagree with another. Accumulate these small rebellions against self-contempt. Stack them. Build on them. Until the voice that says you are unworthy is drowned out by the growing chorus of evidence that you are not. Lesson 21. The 21st and final principle is about legacy. Not the legacy you leave for others. The legacy you leave for yourself. How do you want to remember the way you handled this one life? When you look back, do you want to see someone who tolerated endless disrespect because they feared conflict? Or do you want to see someone who stood in their power, lost some relationships because of it, but gained something more important? Their own respect. Machiavelli understood that the decisions of princes echoed across generations. Every choice shaped what came after. Every compromise set a precedent. And at the end of their reigns, they were remembered not for their intentions but for their actions. The same is true for you. You are a prince of your own life. Every day is a series of small decisions that accumulate into a legacy. And that legacy is being written now. With every time you accept mistreatment. With every time you rise against it. With every time you choose comfort or courage. I do not know where you will be in 10 years. But I know that 10 years from now, you will look back on this moment. On this video. On the choices you made after watching it. And you will either see a turning point or a missed opportunity. That is not pressure. That is reality. The future self is watching. They are waiting to see what you will choose. Let this be the day that something shifted. Let this be the video that cracked something open. Let this be the moment where you stopped teaching people to disrespect you and started teaching them something else entirely. That you are someone worth honoring. That your boundaries are not requests. That your presence is not to be taken for granted. That you are no longer the person who tolerates. You are the person who commands. Before we close, I want to thank you. Not in a generic way, but truly. You have stayed for over an hour. You have absorbed dense material. You have confronted uncomfortable truths. And you have done it because something in you knew it was necessary. That something is your instinct, your compass, your internal knowing that there is more for you than what you have been settling for. My ex said this channel would fail. Every time someone subscribes, she is proven wrong. Every time someone comments, she is proven wrong. Every time someone shares this video with a friend who needs it, she is proven wrong. So if this has meant something to you, do those things. Subscribe. Comment your location. Share with one person who is stuck in cycles of disrespect. Let us build something that was not supposed to exist. Let us create a community of people who are done being doormats and ready to become doors. Heavy, locked, requiring permission. I will leave you with one final thought. A phrase to carry with you. Not a command. An invitation. You do not become powerful by being treated well. You get treated well by becoming powerful first. And power is not aggression. Power is the quiet certainty that you are worth more than what you have been accepting. Walk in that certainty. Let it reshape your posture, your words, your choices, and watch how the world responds. It will have no choice but to respect what it sees. Until next time, move in silence, rise in power, and remember, they only disrespected you because you allowed them to. That ends now.